friendships in soaps. This can be anything from Sucky and Eve, Shirley and Heather, Pauline and the Frying Pan. Just had to get that in there. Fat Boy and Dot.
Dot.
This is just about, is EastEnders lacking in friendships? Because we all love a friendship. Me and Ash are friends. Nothing ever goes bad. We do scream at each other to record.
But say the line. He's the best friend I've ever had.
He's the best friend I've ever had.
The best friend I've ever known.
He's the best friend I've ever known, and his willy is massive.
Nobody grows channels ass in the first minute. Nobody's grown a channel as much as him.
Exactly.
But yeah, platonic friendship. I mean, it's one thing where soaps can be characterized in their long-term friendships, and sometimes characters are just there to be friends, right? Gary and Minty never really got big storylines to themselves, aside from Gary's Gary had a bit more than Minty, but still, fundamentally, they were there to be best mates. Jim and Patrick, best mates, you know? Heather and Shirley, best friends. And it's a very important thing because some of these duos are iconic. Like the episode where any of the times where Heather and Shirley had like a double episode where they're like trying to there's the episode where Heather and Shirley try to sneak into George Michael's house. And there's the episode where they find George Michael's unlicked yogurt lid. And it is iconic in itself. Roxy and Christian, an absolute belter of a friendship. And these are important, right? Because, you know, most people are friends. And there's something really, really relatable about these duos. It's the person you kind of fall back on when you need some support. Like it truly is. It's something that was definitely missed. I think my one recent example of lacking the friendships is, and this isn't even like the current era. It's like when they brought Ben Mitchell back. And they bring Ben Mitchell back with Max Bowden, and then it's like, oh, are him and Jay gonna be mates again? Nah, not for like 2 years. It's like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean they're barely interacting? They're like brothers practically. But, you know, they did get there in the end, but still, for a while, it's like, why are these guys not interacting? But even then, so a lot of these characters you would expect, like, I guess you did have Martin and Zach, who were that kind of friendship duo, kind of like brothers in a sense, but not really. Like both backing each other up at all angles. But still, there's just a lack of like general friendships. Like you do have Stacy and Eve, which I think is who you meant to say in the intro rather than Suki and Eve.
Yeah.
Regardless,
they
are still friends. And you kind of had for a while you did have Harvey and Rocky. But, you know, they weren't really a great duo as such. They just they were there. And especially, like, it feels like a bunch of the women on the show, they don't really have many friends either. Like, most of their relationships seem to be with their partner or with their family. And, like, in terms of friendships, it's very slim on the ground. Which I get. I guess Nigel and Phil, recent example, that is kind of reign true. To be that true, like, proper friendship where despite everything you are like, well, I don't know, it's just a really nice thing to have. And I don't know if they're necessarily lacking them, but it's still kind of usually, and as of late, it definitely feels like they typically only really have them when they're convenient and don't really have it be a backbone of someone's character or personality.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, to me, friendships in subs are like, because it's got to be a strong one.
Yolande and Elaine, there we are.
Yeah, you nailed that one. Pretty hard. So yeah, I do agree. But like I said, like Tommy and AI, not really friends. You know, AI can technically be your friend if you wanted to. Just don't rely on it heavily, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do need more friendship.
Some say Piggy's AI.
Yeah, hello, I'm AI. You gotta
see proof. Proof.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Proof. Uh, as I was saying, before I did my little robot dance, what was I saying? You threw me off. Train of thought. Yeah, friendships are needed in soaps because you can't really. You need to have those two people who bounce off each other. Like like Nigel and Grant were great in the final episode because
Yeah.
I know it's a weird line. It's just the SpongeBob line Grant says that always buckles me. Can you do what he says? I'll go give you all the sponge.
Just something like, I'll give you all the sponge bath you need. Something like that.
yeah,
Something like
essentially.
that.
And it always buckles me because you can tell they're true friends. And like you need people that will gossip together. Like what was her name? Karen and Mitch. Karen is a gossipy cow, and she just gossip about anything. Like you see Harvey shit himself on aisle 5. Oh, that's the topic for the entire month. Like she just gossips about anything. And you kind of are missing that. You're kind of missing that in modern EastEnders. Because all the people who are friends are just family. Like Mo hangs out with Kat and Jane. She doesn't really.
Which obviously that's still fine. That's still fine for them, because family is a pretty important piece of most people's lives. Whether it's blood or by chosen. And so I still bounce off bounce ideas off my brothers all the time and all that sort of stuff. Like it's a close knit family, is what to be expected, right? But a good friendship duo and a good duo is also a way to give someone who's probably not going to be doing much else anything to do. Like Bernie. Bernie had the most screen time when her best friend Tiff was on the show. And then they gave Bernie more stuff when her and Dottie became friends. It's a really good way to use a character, but maybe not have them be in the biggest storylines. You give them little funny scenes, and they get to do comedy, but they still get to play a part and play a role. It's just kind of I suppose you also Barney and Avani recently. They are friends, but still, it's kind of
Barney in the bridge.
It kind of guts everything. Like my least favorite friendship is Zach and Ravi. Because it's you're doing all right. No, I'm struggling, you prick. Yeah, but don't you fucking say that to me, boy. It's like, guys, just talk about your feelings, man. Talk about your feelings. But it is a good way to use characters that you wouldn't be using otherwise. Is the most important bit. Like, not everything has to be a love story. Everybody complains about affairs and pregnancies, but not everything has to be surrounding relationships. Obviously, a bunch of it does, because it's kind of what humans do. Let's be honest, it's what most people do. It's like I've seen people be. This is kind of unrelated, but fuck it. I've seen some people take that stance of why do gay people make their whole life around being gay with their partner? Then I remember going to someone being like, "Well, how about fucking straight people being married with kids? Their whole personality is I'm a dad or I'm a husband." I'm a wife, I'm a mother. It's just. It is just what most people do. Not that you need it, but friendships do. They make up for a lot of shortcomings of a character, right? Sometimes a character's really spiky, but you give them a friend and they slowly soften up and they become a lot more likable. Trying to think of an example of that. I guess kind of Suki with Eve, but that's a relationship different.
Stuart, but Rainy.
Yeah, true.
Sure,
still.
Dot.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, Dot, for example, works out with a lot of them as well. Dot was the person who you would bring them in. You'd have them be with Dot, like Nigel, for example, and this kind of shows the good nature within that person, and then it kind of makes them a bit less of a nuisance. Not that Nigel was ever a nuisance, but they did this with everyone. did this with most people. Did it with Dennis Rickman. Did it with Phil. Did it with Stuart. Did it with Rainey. Did it with Fat Boy. All these characters where you just have this nice duo where it's most of their scenes. And like Jim and Patrick, most of what Jim did was hang out with Patrick. Yeah, he did have his scenes with Dot, but mostly he was just drinking in the Vic with Patrick.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to keep this on you just in case I am wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Patrick... Now, I might be thinking of the Bill Clinton, Peter Griffin clip in Family Guy, but didn't Patrick and Jim do Dance Dance Revolution?
They may have done. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure you showed me that clip at some point.
Yeah, I remember it, but I don't know if it's true. So it might be confusing for when Bill Clinton, fake Bill Clinton by the way, is where he's playing Dance Dance Revolution in Chuck E. Cheese, and Peter's like, "We need to get the pizza," and he starts jumping up and down. But yeah, I think they did Dance Dance Revolution. We got to do it at some point, Ash. Get your hips moving about.
You're too uncoordinated for that, mate. I don't know if you just naturally ascend when you're playing DDR, but only time will tell.
Quick, get the machine.
Get the dance pad out. In fact, I'm going to be moving to a standing desk, and anytime I'm recording, I'm going to be dancing. Always a bad idea when you do that, because especially if you have anything like that, and you bring it upstairs. And like your parents said, it's like, stop fucking stomping on the fucking upstairs, you bastard. Yeah, it's a bad idea. Bad idea.
Just love Dance Dance Revolution.
But like, does it actually? I don't know. Does it actually lack it? Does it lack friendships in this current form? Let's just rattle through some of them. Right? You have Elaine and Yolande. You have Ivani and Barney. You had Zach and Martin.
Zach and Ravi.
You kind of have Zach and Ravi, but not really. I don't count them.
Linda and Phil.
Friendship. Linda, Sharon, Linda, Phil, Nigel, Phil. They don't necessarily lack, but I suppose they lack it where it's their entire purpose.
Big
which
Mo
isn't
Alfie.
A bad thing. Kind of.
Big Mo, Freddy.
But yeah, I don't know. I honestly, this video has been alright, but turns out not really much to go on. But hey, look, not every video could be a banger, but at least we've had some fun stories and some stupid little jokes.
Yeah, and we'll see you in the next one. See you then. Bye bye, and don't forget to dance.